Do you remember when you were a child? Do you remember what it was like to be 3, 4, 5 years old? Do you remember how wondrous the world was and how confident you felt in yourself? How amazing everything was, but you felt like Superman, like Superwoman. You felt like you could do anything. You felt special. You felt like you were here for a reason, for a purpose. You felt strong. You felt powerful. You felt like you could do anything. The world was right there and you were going to discover it and do everything you ever wanted to do. That's how I felt when I was a child, and I think most children do. Most children feel incredibly confident in themselves and incredibly secure in themselves until they go to school, until they get taught that they're not what they thought they were. They're not special, they're not good, they're not brilliant, they're not someone who knows what they are. They need to be taught what they are. They need to be taught to think in a certain way. They need to pass the tests. They need to be subject to examination. They need to live up to the whims of their peers. They need to be everything they can be trained to be, but not to be themselves. And that's what school does to people. That's what the education system does to people, because that's what it is designed to do to people. But if you can get back to that part of yourself that had that confidence, the confidence that you knew was there when you were born, the confidence you had when you were a child, if you can get back to that, it's really an amazing thing. I guess that's one of the things with me, folks. I don't feel like I ever grew up. I guess I'm a bit like Peter Pan in that way. My body's getting more and more decrepit, but my mind is just the same as what it was when I was a kid. I know a lot more than what I did then. Well, I like to think that I know a lot more than what I did then. I've got a lot more experience than what I did then. But I still have that same confidence in myself. I still have that same wondrous outlook for the world. I find everything amazing. I find every day to be amazing. I find every person I meet to be amazing. And one of the most important things about being a child is that when you're a child, when you're 3 or 4 or 5 years old, what you do with your day is what you choose to do with your day. And I guess in one way that's how I've never grown up, because everything I do is what I choose to do with my day. And many people may look at that and think, well, you've had some kind of charmed life, because they don't really perceive themselves to really have these choices, but I would suggest that they do. And when you really step back and look at it and you see just how divided we are, it does get to be a little frustrating. You do sometimes lose a little hope, but a lot of people are seeing it now, I think. I mean, there's so many people that are researching so many different avenues now, and so many people have picked up on the fact that our history is completely wrong, that we've been lied to on all counts. And so I'm seeing a lot more people agreeing to disagree and not allowing their belief systems to get in the way. There are still a lot of polarized people who will claim that anything you do that doesn't agree with them is shilling for somebody else. People really do take that to the extreme as well. Even when you talk about cryptocurrencies, you can look at cryptocurrencies, you could argue the pros and cons of cryptocurrencies. This is the way they do it, folks. Extremist polarized thinking, and all this has been injected into the movement just to keep the movement divided. And there are some people who still think that way, but I'm seeing a lot of those types of mindsets being put down by people. That's the way they do it, folks. That's why they ramp all these things out, because people are seeing the unity is the answer, so they have to inject as much division as they can. All these bits of theatre, all these wars, all this posturing with Russia, all the stuff going on with the UN. But as I said, I think things are possibly going to come to a head pretty soon. We may even see something reasonably major happen before the end of this year. It wouldn't surprise me one little bit. Of course, you never know with these people. They do like to keep you on the edge and keep you hanging on your seat, expecting some major disaster to be right around the corner, and that's all part of the play as well. But through all of it, of course, the question is what to do about it, what to do about our situation. You know, that's what people are always asking me when they listen to the radio shows, and people write to me and say, well, you're bringing us the problems, but what is the solution? Well, again, folks, it comes back to a loss of self. You know, knowing the power that you have gives you the ability to stand up to people who claim a right of ownership over you or a right of authority over you. You know, laughing at these people and questioning their actions makes a huge difference, especially when you do it in a public arena. If you go to council meetings and you laugh at the council members and you ask them questions in the most brutally honest fashion you can find, you really do make a difference. You cause that penny to drop in people's minds. You just crack that shell with them. Even if you don't have any success in getting any change happen at the meeting, even if you get thrown out of the meeting, even if you embarrass yourself, it doesn't matter. You still wake other people up during the process. And these are the things that count. You know, it's people's willingness to comply with a system that is essentially fiction that is the whole problem. That's the only way we're going to get out of this mess, is to realize that we're dealing with a fiction. You know, the problem is that people just don't have the time to step back and look at it. It's this mistaken belief in authority and this concept that we have that we must think in a certain way and we must obey all these rules, which are completely meaningless and very often cause us to go against our moral compass by obeying these rules. You know, it's our willingness to do this, our willingness to step outside our moral compass to comply with someone else's regulations on how we should live our own lives, and our unwillingness to help people around us when we see people in hardship. We judge them by their economic worth, by their economic standing. You know, and we're seeing more of these people disappearing, folks. More and more homeless people are disappearing. You've got to ask the question, what's happening to them? Where are they going? Where are they disappearing to? And again, you know, the whole system is fiction anyway, folks. But people get too polarized in it. They think, well, if the whole system's fiction, then we shouldn't be using any part of it at all. And that's great. I agree we shouldn't. But like I said, we are. People who say that still have driver's licenses, they still drive around in cars, they still shop with credit cards, and yet they say they don't want to be part of the system. But they are part of the system, but they're not using those aspects that exist within the system, which could actually wrest control of the system from those who control it now and put that control into the hands of the people. You know, if we want to have this digital reality, if we want to have the internet, we want to have all this mass communication and all this blockchain and all this stuff that we've got now. I mean, a lot of people may be living in fear of the smart grid, but at the same time, they do not want to lose the internet. They're addicted to the internet. They love this instant communication. They love everything the internet has brought to the world. So while they're in fear of it, they also don't want to lose it. So why not use some of the aspects of it and wrest control out of the hands of the government and turn it back into a private enterprise and a free open source enterprise the way it started off to be, or the way it looked when it first started anyway. And we can do this, folks. Again, it all comes down to a loss of self. Why don't we think we have the confidence to do this? Why don't we feel that we just can do this? Why do we feel we have to obey whatever rules anybody writes down when these people are our employees anyway? I mean, we've really got to rediscover who and what we are, ladies and gentlemen, and realize what tools we have available to us, and realize the power of just having the confidence to be you can bring to your life. You know, everybody does have a choice of what they wish to do with their life. Sure, you might be in a position where you're married, you've got people dependent upon you or whatever, but still, you have a choice. People always have a choice of what to do, and a choice of what direction they want to go, what they want to support. And really, it's a choice of, do you believe in yourself, or do you not believe in yourself? Perhaps that has really been the only choice I've really had to make, is that I've always believed in myself. I've always known that I can make it through the world by being who I am. I don't need to please anybody. I don't need to be what anybody else wants me to be. All I need to do is to be true to myself and to follow my own heart. And if I'm in my heart and I'm true to my heart and I'm true to other people, then the world will lead me where I'm supposed to go. I've always had that confidence in myself, and so I've always just allowed the world to do that. I have a saying that if you throw yourself to the wind, you can ride it. And really, I'm living proof that it works. And if everyone was to do that, if people were to really make that choice in themselves to always be in their heart in what they do and to be true to themselves, then I don't think the world would be anywhere near in the mess that it's in today. You know, through all the solutions that we're looking for, as I've said so many times, the solution lies within the hearts of every man, woman, and child on this earth. That's the only place the remedy can come from, because that's where all the power lies. The power lies with the people It lies in whether we choose to comply with our own slavery or whether we choose to be ourselves and be what we want to be.